Hello, and welcome to a Sunny Book Nook. My name is Sunny, and today I'm going to be talking to you about the books I want to read in August, because it is Women in Translation Month in August, I believe. So I want to read books by women that have been translated into English and were not originally written in English. These are all off of my physical TBR, which I am really attempting to tackle this year. Not to great success, I would say. I think every year is an attempt to tackle my physical TBR to not great success, but this upcoming month, I'm really hoping that I can get through, if not all of these, at least a few, okay? To be honest, I have not been that successful with TBRs ever. The lack of success can be documented across my entire channel, but that doesn't stop me from wanting to try, you know? So let's just get into the stack. The first book I want to talk about is The Madwoman's Ball by Victoria Moss. This book has been adapted into a 2021 Amazon Prime movie or show, I believe, but I think it's originally written in French, and it was originally published in 2019 in France, but this is obviously a hardcover copy that was published either late last year or early this year. And it's supposed to be set in an asylum in the 1880s, and this won some prizes in the French literary scene, from what I understand. But it says all of Paris is in thrall to Dr. Charcot and his displays of hypnotism on women who have been deemed mad or hysterical, outcast from society. But the truth is much more complicated, for these women are often simply inconvenient, unwanted wives or strong-willed daughters. Once a year, a grand ball is held at the Salpêtrière. Girl. For the Parisian elite, the Madwomen's Ball is the highlight of the social season. For the women themselves, it is a rare moment of hope. Genevieve is a senior nurse at the asylum. After the death of her beloved sister, she has shunned religion and placed her faith in Dr. Charcot and his new science. But everything begins to change when she meets Eugenie, the 19-year-old daughter of a bourgeois family that has locked away the girl because she claims to talk to spirits. And now Eugenie has a plan, and she needs Genevieve's help. Their fates will collide on the night of the Madwoman's Ball. That sounds really interesting to me, and I love a feminist historical fiction. And so yeah, that's the first book on my TBR. Next, I have a book that isn't technically written by a woman, because it's written by a non-binary person, from what I understand, but obviously they're not a man, and I think it was translated by a woman, was it? Let me check. Yeah. So I'm just going to count it as an addition to the TBR, and that is The Discomfort of Evening by Marieke Lucas Rijneveld. It was originally written in Dutch, and I've heard very interesting things about this. My friend Steffi sent this to me, which I'm deeply appreciative of, and it won the 2020 International Booker. So, I mean, I have high hopes. I think it's just, about this girl on a farm. It's just about, these disturbing rituals and fantasies in the aftermath of her younger brother's death, I believe. So, I'm interested. It seems like a Dutch Midsommar type small family farm vibes. I don't know. I've heard that it's very strange and unsettling, and I love a weird book. So hopefully I will enjoy this one. Next, I have a short story collection anthology called The Way Spring Arrives and Other Stories from a visionary team of female and non-binary creators, edited and collected by Yu Chen and Regina Kyan-Yu Wang. A collection of Chinese science fiction and fantasy in translation. So I am very excited to get to this because I love Chinese science fiction and fantasy, and I love translated works, obviously, and so this is all women and non-binary people as writers and translators, from what I understand. So that's really exciting, and it fits into this prompt perfectly. It's up my reading alley, because I love short stories and I love science fiction short stories. So I am very excited to get to this. I picked it up pretty recently, and it was published by Tor.com, of course. And yeah, I am excited for this. I think this character in the back is Cho, which means spring. So yeah. The next book I want to talk about is Unbearable, Splendor by Shin. This book is not technically translated because the author is sort of a bilingual writer, I believe, writes in Korean and English, or sometimes a mix of both. This is published by Coffee House Press, which is like a small press, I think based in Minneapolis. And yeah, I don't know, it seems like a collection of vignettes and poetry and for different formats and forms, and there's, I think, going to be a lot of discussion of like Korean American diasporic identity and shit like that. So I'm excited to get to this. It doesn't necessarily count with this whole women in translation themed TBR, but I'm just going to say that it does so that, you know, I can tackle my physical TBR. And next I have another short story collection, and that is Flowers and Mold by Ha-seong Nan. This is another short story collection translated into English from the Korean, and I am very excited to get to this because I love the cover so much, and it seems like a very weird, surreal, unsettling collection of stories. The back says, "On the surface, Ha-seong Nan's stories seem pleasant enough, yet there's something disturbing just below the surface, ready to permanently disrupt the characters' lives. A woman meets her next-door neighbor and loans her a spatula, then starts suffering horrific gaps in her memory. A man, feeling jilted by an unrequited love, becomes obsessed with sorting his neighbor's garbage in the belief that it will teach him how to better relate to people. A landlord decides to raise the rent, and his tenants hatch a plan to kill him at a team-building retreat. In 10 captivating, unnerving stories, Flowers of Mold presents a range of ordinary individuals, male and female, young and old, who have found themselves left behind by an increasingly urbanized and fragmented world. The latest in the trend of brilliant female Korean authors who appear in English, Ha-seong Nan cuts like a surgeon. Even the most mundane objects become menacing and unfamiliar under her scalpel." So, that is really exciting, and that's the last book I have in this stack to talk about. I just finished filming my July wrap-up, so sorry for this abrupt cut, but I just now realized that in my August TBR video, I didn't include a couple of the books that I meant to include. Another book that I want to read for Women in Translation Month is The Employees by Olga Raveen. This book was published originally in Dutch, and it's a short sort of collection of vignettes inspired by, I think, an art installation, and it's supposed to be like, what does the inside say? It says, "A workplace novel of the 22nd century," and I've gotten through a little bit of it, but I haven't gotten through a lot of it, which is why I wanted to finish it for Women in Translation Month, August. But yeah, so this is another book I have on my TBR. My other Women in Translation Month book that I forgot to mention while filming my August TBR is 4 Minutes by Natalia Deliva. I think I mentioned hauling this book, or I hauled this book in a reading vlog earlier this year, but this book is a collection of like stories and vignettes set in Bulgaria, but mostly centered around this orphan girl who is a lesbian, I believe. At least to my knowledge, that is what this book is about, but it's supposed to be like all the different little chapters can be read in like 4 minutes or less or something like that. But yeah, the cover is really beautiful, and it's written by a woman, and it's translated from Bulgarian, so I think it's perfect for my August TBR, and I've gone through a little bit of it, and I enjoy the writing. It's quite beautiful so far. But yeah, I just wanted to mention that these two books were also on my TBR for my August reads and Women in Translation Month. But yeah. Oh, and a book that I don't physically have, but I have on my August TBR because of a podcast I listen to, is Minor Detail by Adania Shibley. I think this is a quite short novella, and it follows a Palestinian woman, I believe. I think it's historical fiction. I really don't know much about it, but my favorite bookish podcast, The Bookstore, is reading it for Women in Translation Month for a future episode. So I also want to read this book so I can listen along to the episode and know what the fuck they're talking about. So yeah, anyways, that is the actual definitive end of the list for my August TBR, and this is just a selective portion of what I want to read in August. Of course, I want to read other books besides just Women in Translation, but this is one of my target focus goal areas, I guess, and tackling my physical TBR and, you know, that type of shit. So yeah, that is my August to be read list. If you have any recommendations for Women in Translation Month that you think I should add to my TBR, please let me know. And among this collection of books, let me know in the comments which one you want me to read and review the most, because I do want to get to all of them, but I want to know like the ones that you're most interested in, if you have read any of these or if you want me to read any of these, like in a particular sense or a particular push for it. So yeah, that is all I have for you today. Thank you so much for watching this video. You can support me on Patreon, or you can just like and subscribe. That is all I have for you today, and hopefully I will see you in my next video. Bye.